Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, and today we are discussing March Madness. So, I'm going to go over the stuff that I would watch out for when making your bracket, and it's not just going to be me just spewing out stuff just to say it. I'm also following these suggestions, I guess is the best way of saying. I'm following these suggestions. So, whatever you do, if you try to listen to these, or you try to follow any of these, my just hints or just what I think will happen, I'm also going with these two. So you're not alone when it comes to this stuff. First things first, let's just start off with something that a lot of people, let's say, don't understand, and they continue not to understand, and it showed even more during the CBS selection show. The past year's winner almost never, ever does good in the following tournament. Ever since 2016, the champion of the year before has not made it past the second round. No, Villanova hasn't. Both years they've won. Virginia hasn't. They were out in the first round. North Carolina hasn't. I know. You have Kansas, lost Arkansas last year. All those teams, every one of them. Baylor, all of them, didn't make it past the second round the following year. So what would make UConn different? Nothing. Nothing would make UConn different. And you look at the bracket and it's like, okay, well, of course you have to have a team that's comparable enough to beat them. Florida Atlantic right here. They were one shot away from making the national title last year. They were one stop away from making it. We have Northwestern here, who beat Purdue early on the year and has always given them good games. They're a team that can upset almost anyone in the country based off they play. Those two teams can beat UConn based off how the tournament has gone. It's like, well, upsets just don't happen normally. Yes, they do. This is March Madness. What do you expect? Expect the unexpected. This is history. I'm not going off my own thing right now. It's history right here. It will continue. Either Florida Atlantic or Northwestern will probably end up beating UConn, or shock the world and Stetson wins it and beats UConn as a 16 seed. But I think Florida Atlantic would win this. I have them beating UConn. I know it might be surprising. Look in the past history of stuff. A lot of good teams ended up losing to 8 or 9 seeds just because they didn't play their A game that one day. Most of them miss big time free throws or a lot of big time fast break turnovers and stuff that you just can't do and expect to win. Another thing, you always at least have one team that is a 5 seed or higher, a 5 seed like 6, 7, I mean by higher, on that win making the Final Four. Usually that will happen. Last year we had a bunch, and this year I expect no different. I mean, we had North Carolina the year before, we had UCLA the year before. It just happens a lot. In my prediction, I have Florida being that team. You saw how they play against Alabama. Each team they're going to have to face here are chokers in the tournament. Either they face a Boise State or Colorado team coming off having to play a team. Colorado's coming off having to play in their Pac-12 title game. So they're playing a lot of games in a short amount of time. So they could win that one. You have Marquette here. I'm not sure if you can see this. You have Marquette, probably. That's why I think will beat Western Kentucky. Marquette, Shaka Smart is not the best tournament coach. He's not the best. And even at Texas, they lost like Abilene Christian at one point. He's not the best when it comes to tournament time. Anywhere else, he's great. Here, not so much. So watch out for that. Next up, you have Kentucky. Florida's already beat Kentucky at one point this year. Florida just made the SEC title game, for goodness sake. And Kentucky lost to A&M their last time they played. So don't expect a whole lot from that. I could definitely see a Florida team upsetting Kentucky if they miss some free throws, key times. If Reed Shepherd's not on this game, Rob Dillingham, Reeves is not in this game at the time. We'll see. And then you have Houston, who's notorious for choking from the Sweet 16 to the Final Four area. Sweet 16 and Elite 8, usually the main time they choke. Lost to Auburn, lost to Miami, lost to Baylor in the Final Four by a lot that one year. A lot of stuff. Lost to Michigan a while ago. I think it might have been around 32, but you get the idea. Might have been Sweet 16. But you get the idea of that. They end up choking in situations before it comes to the championship. And Florida's the only team really in the way at that point, if this turns out that way. And Florida has good shot blocking in the middle, good rebounding, can hit some shots. They had a slow start against Auburn, which really put them behind. Auburn, once they get a lead on you, they can take it ahead. Saw that happen with South Carolina. Every time they played them, take it ahead. All that stuff. Decent, good, pretty good guard play. Play pretty good defense. What else would you want? Some good shooting too. What else would you really need? This is a team that could really upset some teams. Just talk to Alabama and see how tough it is to play Florida. Next up, don't trust Purdue. The last 3 years, they have lost to a double-digit seed. You have, well, the most obvious one was last year when they lost to FDU, 16 seed. St. Peter's was a 15 seed, and then North Texas the year before was, I think, a 13 or 12 seed. Anyways, they're not a good team when it comes to this stuff. So I would assume they would beat either Montana State or Grambling State. I would hope so. Next up, you have Utah State or TCU. I could definitely see that happening. I would doubt that, though. But you have a possibility if things break out right if to face Gonzaga, which I have here. Gonzaga is meant for the tournament. Mark Few has made it to 2 national championship games. He knows what it's like in these big moments. You saw the shots they made last year against UCLA. You saw what happened to them last year against UConn. You think they don't want revenge? I know Drew Timmy's not there, but do you think these teams don't want revenge for what happened last year? They could go out and upset a Purdue team that's notorious for choking in the tournament. I think they would be willing to go ahead and do that. Put all their heart on the line and go out and win that game. I think they could do that. Watch out for Purdue to lose to one of those teams that you probably shouldn't lose to, but knowing them, they will. Another thing, Tennessee. Got to stay away from these upset, these Cinderella story teams. All that. Let's look through their history. Okay. Lost to Lower Chicago when they made the Final Four. That was a Cinderella team. When Carson Edwards was going crazy at Purdue, guess who they lost to that year? Purdue. They barely did make it far, but Carson Edwards had like a 40-point game every single tournament game. They lost to Oregon State, who made it to the Elite Eight as, I think, a 12th seed. Not likely. They were very much a Cinderella type of team. Last year, they lost to Florida Atlantic. They were a 9th seed. They made it to the Final Four. It's these Cinderella teams, these Tennessee teams have to keep facing. And I hope they got that out the way with Mississippi State. That team that you probably shouldn't lose to, but you did. Hopefully they got that out their system with them. But if you didn't, you run into possibilities of it. You have to play St. Peter's the first round. That's the ultimate double-digit seed, high double-digit seed. That could cause problems. That's the ultimate one. But outside of that, you have like South Carolina, maybe Oregon if you get lucky. Oregon could be a team if they get by. But Creighton, if they don't get upsetted, you have the Colorado State, Virginia realm. Like you have those type of teams. You hope you break lucky, which would probably mean having to face Virginia and South Carolina. And then you would have your matchup probably if you get what you want to probably face Purdue. Because you have the battle between the two top players in the country, Dalton Connect and Zach Edey. That'd be fun to watch. Mississippi State and Michigan State matchup, that could be the best game of the entire tournament, I feel like. Just game alone. They look great. Unbelievable. Matchup, 2 very much physical teams. They'll go right at you, can upset any team. One team barely lost to Purdue. One team just beat Tennessee by 17 points. So it's like, yeah, they're pretty good. Always expect a random upset. Very random. My very random upset of the day is Akron beating Creighton. That's mine. Another one is Charleston making it to the Sweet 16. Beating Alabama and St. Mary's. Very random. You're like, how can that happen? I don't know. I have no good explanation for you. Were you predicting St. Peter's to make it to the Elite Eight? No. I don't know why things happen in March Madness. But it's March Madness for a reason, and it's going to happen. And I predict that. It's going to happen. I forgot to say this name. The 11th seed facing BYU. DeQuace. Something like that. It sounds like it should be said DeQuince. But it's DeQuace or something like that. I got them beating BYU. Got them beating the Mormons. And then Illinois. Coming off a Big Ten championship. Remember they did that before with the Iowa DeSuma Kofi Cockburn team. They ended up losing to Loyola Chicago. So you have to watch out for them in that way. Auburn, I could definitely see making a big run. I don't have that, though. And watch out for Baylor. Watch out for Baylor. Baylor is always this good team. I trust Baylor in the tournament a lot. Always keep games close. Might do some good stuff late. You just don't know. Duke, I wouldn't trust. Free throw shooting sometimes a problem for them late in games. You have to watch out for that. Iowa State, they travel. Their fans travel amazingly. They'll probably travel to China if they had to watch them play. Type of thing. See what I mean? Like, they will travel anywhere. And this one's Omaha. That's not far. That's not super far away from Iowa State. So, yeah. The best matchup possibly could be an Elite Eight matchup between Arizona and North Carolina. If Caleb Love go against his former team of North Carolina, that would be sick. That would be awesome to watch. Who wouldn't want to see that? I would want to see that. You'd want to see that. Anyone would want to see that. Either Caleb Love goes for 50 or he goes for 5. Nothing in between. So, after talking about all these sections, time to get my Final Four. I have a little paper pop. I have Iowa State making it from the east side. I have North Carolina making it from the west side. I have Florida making it from the south side. And I have Tennessee making it from the Midwest. I think Tennessee will avoid those Cinderella type of teams until the Final Four. And even then by Florida, Florida's proven that they can beat really, really good teams. So it should not surprise people they do really good. Iowa State's defense is so good. They held Houston at 41 points as a 1 seed. That's insane. North Carolina, tough loss, North Carolina State. But you've seen how they played throughout the year. They play better than that. North Carolina State, they caught lightning in the bottle at one point. Great for them. They could probably end up beating Texas Tech. Maybe it would be Kentucky. I doubt Kentucky would lose to Oakland. Like, really? I hope they shouldn't. But yeah. Another team on upset alert, Duke might lose to Vermont. Watch out for that. I'm not predicting that, but watch out for that. Yeah, North Carolina, I have North Carolina winning. I think they have a good amount of seniors who get together. Cormac Ryan had a bad last game. Harrison Ingram has to pick up his shot. Stuff like that. But RJ Davis is playing out of his mind overall. I think we can win with this. And then, yeah, Florida, already mentioned why. Good shot blocking, good overall shooting, pretty good guard play. Shoot more efficiently, you'll win a lot more games. And I think they'll be able to do that. There's not a lot of teams will have that defense quite like Auburn. Then you have Tennessee. Rough last bit, but they've been shooting so bad in the first half. Hopefully against St. Peter's, they'll find the rhythm. If they end up facing up to play Virginia, they should be able to win that. And then South Carolina will be a dogfight if they end up having to play them, which I project they would probably go to toe with them. But I would have Tennessee winning. Dalton Knecht does put them over the top. He could become one of those March Madness guys that you'll remember 10 years, 15 years from now. Maybe not a Kemba Walker, but maybe one of those, what's a good example? A Shabazz Napier. That one of those that you just don't always fully remember, but you're like, wow, he did. Frank Kaminsky, when he was at Wisconsin, one of those guys that just like, wow, he really did do that good type of thing. And then in my final, I have North Carolina playing Tennessee. I think North Carolina's offense will be able to mess up Iowa State's because Iowa State's offense is pretty good, but North Carolina fans travel a whole lot. So I believe they'll be able to split it even. I think Iowa State's one of their advantages is their fans, how they can travel. They won't be able to travel the same way North Carolina fans do. At least it'll be more even. North Carolina has more experience in these type of games. I think they'll be able to have that to their advantage. And then Tennessee versus Florida. I'm never picking Florida over Tennessee in anything. So, yeah. And I also think Dalton Knecht will be enough on a roll. Also, one other thing before this, Kansas will lose in the first round to Samford. Just pick that down. They've been Andrew too much. Just wanted to point that out. But then in the national title game, I have the score being 80-68, with the winner of this year's NCAA championship being my Tar Heels. So yeah, am I biased? Maybe, but sometimes biased works. So it's the best I'm in. I want this to happen, so let's go with it. So yeah, that's my predictions. Put down in the comments your predictions and everything else about that. And yeah, hope you have a great day. Stay safe, y'all, and God bless y'all.